Should I just forgive the past? Trying to make this short and understandable. There are 9 first cousins on my father's side of the family. Age-wise, I am the middle one. When I was 16, my cousin, 23M, came over unannounced to introduce us to his fiancée, 21F. We were gracious, though there was a bit of a scramble to get a dinner ready. Some months later, a wedding invitation arrived, addressed to Uncle Dad's name and Aunt Mum's name. Mum said maybe I was getting my own invitation. Well, cousin 23M called and, as Dad put it, gave a song and dance, about no children at the wedding. So, off my parents went to the wedding. If you can guess where this is going, you are a clever person. Yes, wall-to-wall kids. Cousin 23M came over to speak to Mum and Dad, and explained my presence would have been embarrassing, and continued to explain that his now wife was studying to be a nurse, and knew about these sort of things. To add context, I am a quiet person, not one to chit-chat, and cousin's wife concluded I was intellectually challenged. Actually, the R word was used. Fast forward to now. All the first cousins are gone, except for me and cousin who is 77. He wants to visit, etc. I haven't seen him for 54 years, so he is really a stranger. Any ideas, suggestions what to do? My sister ignores me and doesn't talk to me. I have cut all of my family off except my sister, but she constantly ignores my messages and has never really been there for me. It actually really hurts me how she treats me because I basically don't exist to her since I rarely get a response from her. I have never done anything cruel to her and she's been absent from my life except will sometimes respond to my messages. I don't think she cares about me just like the rest of my family. I blocked her on WhatsApp and feel bad. I doubt she will notice though. I am thinking I should block her on Instagram too. I know this is very immature, but I am hurt by her ignoring me, and she also still follows my ex-BF on IG and I just don't get why. I would never do that to her, but she has always followed people who don't like me and doesn't care. She's just an overall careless person emotionally. Should I just block her on social media too? She's never going to actually care about me and I know that. Edit. I unblocked her because I felt bad, but how can I deal with her ignoring me? Do we just ignore each other forever? I always reach out to her, but she often doesn't respond to me. Moving back in with abusive family for financial reasons. I am wrapping up grad school and just now coming to terms with the extent of the abuse from my family. It's difficult, because I need to move back in with them temporarily, and I am terrified of getting re-traumatized. They do not like or love me, still coming to terms with that. I don't plan on being there long, just long enough to buy a car, mine got totaled by mice of all things LMAO, and save up to move out. I have plans for my life, but I'm nervous that all the hard work I have been doing lately will be undone when I move back, and I will fall into a deep depression that prevents me from being productive. For context, my family structure is narcissistic, with my stepmother at the helm, my dad as an enabler, but my most consistent and violent abuser, my stepsisters as golden children, and my brother pretty neutral but well-liked. They all participate in the abuse in various ways. I'm the scapegoat, and I'm coming to terms with the ways in which constant psychological and emotional abuse throughout my life has impacted me as an adult, and the ways in which it has held me back. It's pretty rough trying to heal, but I'm trucking along. I would specifically, if possible, like help with these things. Strategies of how to respond when they are actively trying to trigger me or accuse me of something. How to respectfully keep to myself. How to stand up for myself and hold boundaries. My father, younger stepsister, and stepmother can be extremely aggressive and forceful. At the risk of looking truly pathetic, I am 35. I am nowhere near where I should be in life, and my siblings are much farther along in a myriad of ways. To be fair, they received and still receive support from my dad and his wife, and I am embarrassed at my inability to get my life together. I am planning to get a therapist. I've been seeing him off and on since I was a child, so no worries there. I have been doing a lot of work to heal, but if I am being honest, I am absolutely terrified of them. Tired of my controlling transphobic and ableist family. I'm a 20F autistic adult. Some weeks ago, I was in a convention with other disabled women who are activists at a hotel 1 hour from where I live. The third night, my dad called me and said that my brother was asking me about in what hotel I was, which organization planned the conference, who was responsible, because they're afraid that I'm trans. I obviously didn't tell them because I'm not out with them because I'm afraid of being disowned and I'm not fully financially independent. And I'm really sick of my family treating me like a child and controlling me, asking me always where I am, with who I am, and what money I use, thinking that I'm a dumb person without any agency because of my autism, and telling me that I should behave. What can I do to stop all of this? Another smaller victory. My Phil is visiting for the month and I happen to be due with giving birth to my third child. He arrived on the 31st of May, my due date, and I finally gave birth on June 8th. He is staying with his other son. He did the typical toxic grandparent things through the week, like favor the oldest child over the younger one. He was offered a visit with boundaries and declined because of it. Then complained later that he wasn't seeing enough of the kids. He took one of my husband's paternity days to go bike riding with him and then messed up the bike and lost the keys to the locks because the cord snapped, not replaceable. He asked for my husband to come install a TV. He bought for his other son because his other son had broken the one we gave him. His other son never told us he didn't have a TV because he didn't want us to know he broke it. It was a nice TV 70 inches. I gave birth and my husband wanted to lighten his load by not cooking and so asked his father to come over for a visit and to bring food. He replied he was with a friend and didn't want to. So he didn't help and my husband cooked and cleaned, making bedtime very late. Then he complained again in the same text thread that he hasn't gotten to see the girls. My husband then asked him to get the birthday cake for my eldest's birthday party the next day. He didn't want to do that either. So my husband bends over and tells him fine, he will get the cake with the 2-year-old in tow and Grandpa can take the turning 6-year-old out for a few hours before the party. He comes over and asks all the questions that were answered on the texts the night before, which means he didn't comprehend anything that was said, and then says he wants to take her to the Children's Museum. I tell him no, she has a party and a sleepover. You are taking her to lunch, not a big activity. He is shocked at the word no. He then says, "Where is the new baby?" "Downstairs?" and starts to go down. This is after he hadn't knocked and waited to come into the house, and I say no again. I say the baby is sleeping. You cannot go downstairs. No. And again he just stands there and stares at me. My husband questions me and asks, he can't see the baby right now? And I tell him, no. Not now, he is asleep and I want him to leave with the eldest now. The baby was asleep in my bed, in my birthing suite in the house. I had a home birth, and if I had had a hospital birth, we wouldn't have even been home from the hospital yet. My suite has all my personal, healing, space items in it, including a not even 48-hour baby in it. He is not welcome in my space. He is not allowed to just help himself to a look. My husband gives me shit afterwards, not understanding my stance, and tells me I had my best friend over. What is the difference? I told him she was invited. I invited her. I then asked if he had a problem with her. He said no. So I said, then you are just being a back exit to me. Both of them are learning after so many years of me being timid and agreeable that I no longer am. I am putting in boundaries and it makes them both uncomfortable. Do you have a secret little subreddit that is a favorite? Share it in the comments and it could become the next big thing.